There's something magical about a great Final Fantasy cutscene, whether it's the sweeping music, the emotional gut punches, or just that perfect moment when everything clicks. These scenes stay with you long after the credits roll. They're not just flashy visuals, they're memories stitched into the fabric of our gaming lives. So these are some moments that I couldn't stop thinking about even years later. So I'm really excited to share my list of top 10 Final Fantasy cutscenes. There's been so many throughout the years that I've loved, so it's been really hard to actually boil it down to a list of 10. So I'm really excited to share this with you guys. So before I get to that, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below. Let me know your list. I'm sure our lists are going to vary, but hey, that's okay. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say as well. So let's get to number 10 on the list, which is from Final Fantasy IV. Oh boy, this is a great one to kick off the video with. Starting off the list at number 10 is Final Fantasy IV, The Red Wings. From the very first moment of Final Fantasy IV, it sets a more mature tone. As the Red Wings soar through the skies, the Dark Knight Cecil, or Cecil, whatever you say, he is the captain of the fleet. You know, he questions his morality of his latest mission, stealing crystals from innocent nations, and the haunting music and the somber dialogue introduce a protagonist already deep in conflict, unsure of the king he serves or the man that he's become as a result. Just a character, introspection, and mood. Cecil's soldiers grumble about their orders, and he silently carries the weight of guilt. For a 1991 game, it was honestly revolutionary, and it was a story that opened up with ethical dilemmas rather than adventure, a real turning point in Final Fantasy. In my opinion, this scene right here laid the groundwork for what Final Fantasy would become, a series unafraid to ask big questions, build complex characters from the jump. The Red Wings opening may be simple, but its emotional clarity still holds up more than 30 years later. Number 9, the showdown between Genesis, Angeal, and Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. This was an amazing turning point in this game, and playing this game was such a highlight for me back in the day, playing this on PSP. This particular scene was one where I remember just totally having my jaw drop thinking, is this even real life? Now, though it's a simulated battle, the intensity feels strikingly real. High atop the towering Junon cannon, Sephiroth, Genesis, and Angeal face off. Clashing swords, conflicting ideologies, and loyalties all collide together in one fierce encounter. There's dramatic camera movements following all three soldier elites as they fight like gods with their blades sparking against each other. Genesis is quoting Loveless, Angeal is pleading everybody to stop, and Sephiroth remains like the cool, calm, and imposing, force that he is, standing firm right in front of everybody. The massive cannon here stretching out over the sea adds both scale and symbolism to the scene. The cinematography here is swift and fluid, transforming what really is kind of like a quick cutscene into a powerful display of pride and strength, and really the start of a tragic unraveling. Now, this cutscene, in my opinion, is one of the most amazing and epic of the Final Fantasy VII compilation, and it really reshapes our view of Sephiroth, not as a villain, but like somebody who's ready to just unravel and become the foreboding entity that he ends up becoming in Final Fantasy VII. And it really gives a real rare glimpse of him before he turns into something more sinister. Number 8 is the teaser trailer of Final Fantasy Versus 13. Now, I know I'm kind of going against the grain here. I should be picking, Final Fantasy cutscenes, but this one really stuck with me. I remember following this one when I was in high school, almost 20 years ago, believe it or not. And for years, Final Fantasy Versus 13 existed more as a myth than a game, but man, what a myth it was. Originally revealed in a stunning E3 teaser, it introduced us to Noctis, a lone royal figure descending from his throne to face invading forces outside his palace. In a flurry of warp strikes, telekinetic weapon attacks, and some somber piano notes in the background, he wipes out an entire squad of soldiers, emotionless, graceful, and all by himself. This teaser has always just oozed atmosphere. It's got this gothic architecture, blurred city lights, and that sense of a modern fantasy world teetering on the edge of tragedy. The camera spins as bullets freeze midair and blades hover around Noctis, and all this is set to this haunting theme that felt more Kingdom Hearts than traditional Final Fantasy, but with a darker, more mature twist. And ironically, we did see this in Kingdom Hearts 3, but that's a whole other thing for another video. And though Versus 13 was eventually reworked into Final Fantasy 15, this original teaser remains a vision of what could have been. It captured my imagination with this single cutscene, and I remember following the Final Fantasy Versus 13 Wikipedia page for a long time. And it's honestly my biggest what if in Final Fantasy. It's just amazing what this could have been. Number 7, the Magitech March of Final Fantasy VI. This is an incredibly iconic moment from the last Super Nintendo Final Fantasy. The screen fades on a snowy cliffside. 3 Magitech armors stomp forward, trudging through the snow, walking towards the mining town of Narsh. Inside one of them is Terra, enslaved by the Empire. Her memories are locked away, her power barely understood. There's no spoken words, just eerie music, a silent snowfall, and a slow build of dread, accompanied by the incredible list of people who've worked on this game. This isn't your typical RPG intro, especially for that time. It's quiet, it's moody, it's rich with atmosphere. It really sets the tone for a story that's about, identity and oppression perhaps. And even on the limited hardware of the Super Nintendo, Square managed to craft a cinematic sequence that made you feel like something big was happening right in front of you. The brilliance of this opener lies in its restraint. It doesn't bombard you with lore, it simply just immerses you in this world. And in under 5 minutes, Final Fantasy VI does an incredible job at establishing the tone, the character, and the world, all through visual storytelling. It's a real feat here. I love this opening. Now, this one is a spoiler for those of you who have not played Final Fantasy X, so I would encourage you to skip to the next timestamp in the video because the next one after this is also a spoiler. But you know what? I gotta say, Final Fantasy X, the ending. After everything, the pilgrimage, the losses, the hope, Final Fantasy X ends on like a quiet whisper instead of a shout. With Sin defeated, Tidus, how I've always said, again, in every video, I don't care how you guys say it, Tidus is how I say it. He begins to vanish, revealing that he was never truly real, a dream of the faith that now must fade. Yuna reaches out, but her hands pass through him. He smiles, he steps back, and leaps into the far plane, disappearing as her final kind of thank you lingers in the air. The silence that follows is deafening. The moment is devastating, not because it's loud, but because it's still and quiet. We watch as Yuna, now alone, delivers a quiet eulogy to the people of Spira. She promises to move forward, to smile through grief, and to honor the memory of those who are lost. It's mature, subtle storytelling, honestly. It's really a game that's willing to embrace melancholy and ambiguity in a way. This ending remains one of the boldest in the series. It doesn't offer like a neat resolution, but just emotional truth. The love story between Tidus and Yuna doesn't get a fairy tale conclusion, and that's what makes it unforgettable. I love this game so much. Now hang on, before we get any further, did you guys know that 87% of the people who watch my channel on the regular are not subscribed? That's a pretty huge number, so if you are enjoying this kind of content, if you like the ranking videos I do, lists, top 10s, reviews, retrospectives, I would love to have you guys each week with every new video I release. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's free and it supports the channel immensely. So let's get to another great cutscene that, hey, I really, really love. Number 5, Aerith's death from Final Fantasy VII. There's no preparing for it, honestly. And if you were back in the late 90s playing this game without any idea what was about to happen, this would have been a real mind blower. I've talked about this before. This was something that I knew was coming, but still the weight was just, I don't know, it was something else. In the Forgotten Capital, as Aerith kneels in silent prayer, Sephiroth descends from above and strikes her down. The flower girl who brought joy and hope to your party is just suddenly gone. Her body cradled in Cloud's arms as he lays her beneath the water. It's just so impactful. The scene here is just quiet. There's no dramatic scream, there's no revenge speech, it's just stunned silence. The loss feels real, shocking, undeserved, and really permanent. In my opinion, this is a moment where it really just changed the way we thought about stakes in video games. Aerith's death wasn't just a twist, it was an emotional gut punch that defined Final Fantasy VII's tone going forward. It taught a lot of players that in this world nobody was safe, and it's a major reason why the game's story left such a lasting impact. And for the remake trilogy, I'm very interested to see what they're going to do with the third game, but that's for another video. Number 4, You're Not Alone from Final Fantasy IX. You know what? I love Final Fantasy IX so much. There's so many great and emotional moments, but this whole sequence where Zidane, as I've always said, he's just struggling towards the end of the game. He is the heart and soul of Final Fantasy IX, but even he has a breaking point. After learning the truth about his origins, that he was created to be like a bringer of death, he spirals into self-loathing and isolation. He lashes out, determined to face this darkness alone. It's one of those rare times that we normally see the upbeat thief unravel emotionally. But what happens next turns despair into triumph. One by one, the whole party shows up to fight right next to him, not just in spirit, but actually in gameplay. Each party member joins the fray and offers, some new words of encouragement. And all this happens while this emotional music is playing with the haunting melody and surging hope. It's the perfect union of gameplay, story, and music. The brilliance of this scene is in its execution. It shows the power of chosen family, of love and belief, and of lifting somebody up when they can't do it themselves. It's not just a highlight of Final Fantasy IX, it's a defining scene for the franchise's emotional legacy. Really, it turns the tables on the hero saving the party. It's the party saving the hero and then going on to save the world. Number 3, the opening cinematic from Final Fantasy VIII. This was an incredible graphic back in the late 90s. I remember popping in Final Fantasy VIII on my PS1 after, loving Final Fantasy VII for so long and seeing this, and this looked like a Hollywood blockbuster to me. This was insane. The opening music kicks in and Final Fantasy VIII wastes no time making a statement. The camera pans over waves and feathers and flashes of steel as Squall and Saphir clash in a fierce training duel. The gunblades are sparking, the music swells, the scene jumps between fighting and cryptic shots of Noah and abstract flashes of light. You may not understand what you're seeing, but my gosh, do you really feel it? And that's exactly the point here, I think. This cinematic doesn't explain itself, but instead it builds mood and shows this through sheer cinematic force. And the duel ends with Squall getting scarred, a physical reminder of their rivalry. And at the very end, we get one final shot of Rinoa reaching to the sky. It's a preview of the emotional journey ahead. It's super operatic and it's dripping with personality. Now, what makes this scene special isn't just the technical brilliance, but its ability to create intrigue. It sets up some character dynamics, some emotional themes, and visual motifs that echo throughout the game. It's honestly more than an opening. It's a real tone setter that showed what Final Fantasy could look like in full cinematic glory. It's captured my attention for, the last 3 decades, really. Number 2, the opera scene of Final Fantasy VI. Of all the moments in Final Fantasy VI, none are more theatrical or surprising than this opera scene. What begins as a heist disguised as a performance quickly becomes something much more meaningful and iconic. Celes steps into the spotlight to perform Aria de Mezzo Caratrere. Did I say that right? Probably not. And she's singing about love and loss in front of a pixelated audience. It's a moment of vulnerability and performance that transcends Super Nintendo hardware, and it was a real character-defining moment as well for Celes. As you guide her through the lyrics, the production unfolds with the rival actors, backstage sabotage from the crazy Purple Octopus Ultras, and a heartfelt duet between Celes and Draco. What could have been a simple minigame becomes a core moment, not just for you as the player, but for Celes, who starts to question her place in the world and the feelings stirring inside her. The score, set design, and the mechanics work together in a moment of pure creative risk-taking. The opera isn't just a highlight for Final Fantasy VI, it's a real declaration at that moment where the series was and that it was willing to take bold artistic chances. It's beautiful, bizarre, and honestly really unforgettable. It's a scene where, time seems to pause, not for combat or strategy, but for story and emotion, and it remains one of the most iconic moments in JRPG history. Number 1. The opening for Final Fantasy X. When I tell you that Final Fantasy X really captured me in a way that, it still sits with me now, 20 some odd years later, I really mean it. This just blew me away. Final Fantasy X opens not with an exposition, but a real true spectacle. It was a true statement piece for where Final Fantasy was at on the PlayStation 2. This opens with a futuristic city lit by neon lights, a roaring blitzball match, and a hero at the center of it all. Tidus, who's a sports superstar, he's on top of the world until that world is ripped apart by this unimaginable force. As sin descends upon Zanarkand, the game plunges into chaos. Skyscrapers fall, tidal waves rise, and all the while this pounding metal song Otherworld turns panic into some strange poetry. The devastation is immediate, violent, and confusing, much like Tidus' own experience. He's swept away from everything he knows, and so are we. There's no tutorial, no easing into this world, just destruction, questions, and this mysterious figure named Auron who's leading you forward. There's an audiovisual gut punch that throws you directly into the narrative and the emotional core of this game. Loss and displacement and destiny, really. This scene isn't just the best opening of Final Fantasy, it's one of the most impactful prologues in gaming history. It uses every tool in the cinematic toolbox: stunning visuals, iconic music, minimal dialogue, and environmental storytelling. It demands your attention and earns your investment in a single, unforgettable sequence. So that's my list of top 10 Final Fantasy cutscenes. I'm sure there's a couple curveballs in there, but overall, hey, I love Final Fantasy, and the cutscenes have always been a massive highlight to me. So I'm really excited to share this video with you guys today. So again, don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I would really love to know. And we'll see you again on another video next week. Bye-bye.